Corey, welcome to the podcast. Corey Weiss is a veteran brand builder and digital media strategist who spent 30 years driving marketing innovation for companies like Yahoo, Disney, Fox, and Sony. He now advises major brands, mentors founders at UCLA, Anderson, and Techstars, and co-founded 213 Deli, an SMS-based beauty retail platform. Previously, he helped scale IPSY into a $1 billion business and one of the largest creator communities in beauty. So, Corey, first and foremost, how did you get started down this path?
Well, I've had an interesting path in my career. I started in the studio system. I Out of college I worked for Disney, which was kind of like getting a graduate degree. I worked in home entertainment, and that was in the days of DVDs. And I carved out a niche of which at the time was called new media. Now we call digital media, but was responsible for a lot of the early websites for Walt Disney. And then I moved over to Paramount Pictures. And when the first dot-com boom happened, I went full-fledged into the digital media space, particularly in an area of creating content. I was with a company called Wirebreak Entertainment that did short digital shows and films for Gen X males. We were kind of the pioneers in the space, and we were creating content, some of the first ones to do it at a time before broadband was ubiquitous. As many people know, there was a bubble burst to the internet, and I went back to the studio systems. I worked for Sony Pictures and was part of a 5 studio JV doing online movie rentals. But I think as it pertains to kind of what I'm currently doing, I was fortunate in the kind of mid aughts, as they say, or the mid 2000s, that I was approached by one of the top YouTubers at the time named Michelle Phan. Michelle Phan was posting videos on YouTube, and within 24 hours, she was getting 1 million views. And Michelle and her manager approached me and said, "What do we do with all these eyeballs?" And based on my relationships with brands and agencies, I helped Michelle monetize her content. A couple years later, Michelle came to me and said, I was approached by someone to create a business around my YouTube channel. Will you talk to them? And I wound up joining a company called IPSY. IPSY is the world's largest beauty community and beauty subscription service. And I helped build that to $1 billion business. We had over 3.5 million subscribers. We had over 25 million members in our community, 8,000 creators in our community, and we were really disrupting the beauty industry through our beauty subscription service. We changed the way beauty lovers were discovering and purchasing beauty products. I left the company in 2022,
Hmm.
and in 2023, I brought together 2 former colleagues from IPSY to form 213 Deli. It was a new way to innovate on the beauty industry and help people discover and purchase beauty products. And this time it's being done through SMS messaging. So 213 is the original area code of Los Angeles, a deli being a place anyone can go to, find something they love and leave happy. We curate the best of the best in beauty and drop it via text once a week. It's free to join, no obligation to buy. And the reason people purchase from us is not only is it really easy and frictionless, but each week there's a gift with purchase as well as free shipping. So people have really embraced this new way, or kind of a concierge white glove way to purchase products from their mobile device.
Very cool. It sounds like you're all over the place, Corey, which is amazing. And by the way, I apologize for mispronouncing the company. I kind of
That's
called it
okay.
IPSY, but yeah.
Well, it's
Uh,
if
but
you're not, it's being $1 billion business and 3.5 million subscribers. A lot of people know, but if you're not a beauty aficionado, you might not have heard of it. It's also funny, Michael. 213 Deli, and I know you're on the East Coast, and I'm here in Los Angeles. If you are not familiar with 213 being the original area code of Los Angeles, people often say 213 Deli. So that also is a common mistake.
embarrassingly enough, I did call it 213 Deli, or did I call it 213 Deli? But
All
I
the
used to
213,
live in LA as well.
you corrected yourself, but that's okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I used to live in the Valley, in Encino, and I've lived in Santa
Yeah.
Monica. So
Well, that's
yeah, perhaps I should know better. Who knows?
I'm coming to you from Encino. So,
Oh, very
my,
nice.
yes.
Yeah, I kind of miss it. Uh, so yeah, you're like all over the place. I mean, you move from roles from like an entrepreneur, a marketer, and from what I read, a spin instructor and an advisor.
Yes.
So first of all, doing some introspection, why do you think? What do you think it says about you that you're like just a curious monkey? That you're just in different industries and you're not the kind of person who sticks into one narrow vertical and spends their life kind of honing in.
Well, while I've jumped around to different industries, having been in the studio system, having worked in big tech with Yahoo, um, and serendipitously falling into the beauty industry, I still have common threads. And those common threads are
Mm.
scaling, building businesses through everything from marketing to business development, so in the form of strategic partnerships and alliances. So that's been consistent. And then, I do like to help brands grow by identifying new ways to reach consumers and engage consumers. But there's consistent things across everything I've done, and that's really building brands through storytelling and finding ways that to reach new ways to reach consumers. But I do like to one thing that's been consistent is I do like to be a bit disruptive and innovative. So there's a term used, disintermediation. So when I was at the Five Studio JV doing online movie rentals, that was a new way for people to rent movies online versus at the time going into a video store, a Blockbuster, or a Hollywood. People probably don't know these companies, Hollywood Video or Tower Records. So that was disintermediation, and the same holds true with with IPSY. People normally would go into a brick and mortar, whether it be a Sephora or an Ulta, and with IPSY, we found a way to go direct to consumer through a subscription service. And now with 213 Deli, it's a new, innovative, disruptive way to discover and purchase beauty products. So really, when you ask like, why have I moved around is, Einstein had a quote that doing the same thing over and over again and expecting, change is insanity. And I feel like you kind of always have to be
Mhm.
changing the landscape instead of becoming passive or comfortable in your ways.
Well said. So there's the double-edged sword of technology. Technology is supposed to connect us, bring us together, but paradoxically, it kind of makes us feel more isolated than ever. And a lot of your companies just are focused on, providing that human touch in the digital world. Um, why why are you so human, like person centric, human centric in the digital world? And explain to me the process of like how you come up with new ideas and where you feel it's important to double down on those ideas and where not to.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I appreciate you identifying that, kind of having a personal touch to the things I do. So when I describe myself as a professional, I say that I'm an artist, a scientist, and a humanitarian. So the artist in me is the one that's creative and innovative and thinking of what's next. The scientist in me is validating those ideas with data and information that shows that it's a viable idea. And then the humanitarian in me is I'm a people person, and it's really important to understand consumers. Like I can come up with ideas all day long, but if consumers don't want them, it doesn't make a difference. They won't succeed. So you have to be able to be in touch with consumers and also with colleagues, understand the people that you're working with. So I kind of triangulate between artist, scientist, humanitarian. And when coming up with new ideas is understanding consumers, what they want so that there is a demand, understanding consumers what their challenge is and making sure that there's a solution that you're providing that hasn't been done before. And in the case of like even using 213 Deli as an example, is we target time starved beauty people that are time starved and beauty obsessed. So people that don't have 2 hours a day to scroll through to doom scroll through social media looking for the best brands and products want a trusted, reliable source that says, this is the game changer, or this is something you'll be obsessed with, and then purchase it. And that's, kind of the way we kind of are shifting the way for that person that, doesn't have the time, but they have the means and they control the purse strings to make purchases.
Yeah, all very, very interesting. So, just out of curiosity, Corey, you seem to be constantly hungry for growth. Do you have like a 5-year plan of maybe you want to double down on 213 Deli, grow it out, expand outwards? What does the horizon look like for you?
Yeah, so it's a really good question. I mean, it's interesting. One, landscapes are always changing, right? That if you're not always evolving and iterating, you're going to be left in the dust of your competitors. One of the things that I believe that there's two critical things I believe in business now. As consumers become more informed, more intelligent, and more inundated, there's certain things that need to be done in order to cut through the clutter. And those two things are trust. You have to build trust, that they trust that the recommendations that you're making are good and that the products that you're suggesting they purchase are good. So part of that 5-year plan is continuing to reinforce and galvanize the trust in the relationships we make with consumers. And the second thing, Michael, that I think is critical in any industry is personalization. So you can't just jam things down consumers' throat or just, I might say to, I'm not going to tell you if you don't wear makeup that you need this. I'm only going to tell you about products, whether it's skincare, body care, hair care, maybe beard care, noticing that you have a beard that is personalized to you. So one of the things that we're working on is that personalization platform. And then, of course, everybody now, I think it's more of a buzzy thing than anything, is looking for ways to incorporate AI into what they do. And we're actually currently developing
Right.
something at 213 Deli, which is agentic AI. So if you live in a cold climate, you'd be able to ask us, um, or our agent, like, I live up in the mountains and it's getting cold. What do I do for chapped skin? Or I'm going to go on a vacation to South
Mhm.
Florida. What do I do about my skincare to keep my skin moisturized? Or I'll be in and out of the ocean. What's a hair care product that I need? So there's a lot of ways that we can make sure that we're delivering the right products to the right people and personalizing that experience where you lose that at retail. You walk into a retailer, a brick and mortar. In this case, you look at something like Sephora or Ulta, which are the key beauty retail accounts, and they don't know who you are. They don't have any background on you, any data points to know what you like and don't like. And that art of curation and personalization has been lost. And that's one of the things that's in um, even sooner in the kind of midterm plan for us is really incorporating agentic AI and personalization.
Yeah, I mean, that agility that comes with personalization in the biotech, in the healthcare and lifestyle industry has really kind of seen a bit of an explosion. A lot of places they make you do like an alcohol swab, they check your DNA markers, and then they kind of start to give you a high degree of personalization. And I think that, like, one size fits all has worked because it allowed it allowed companies to kind of flourish in the olden days just to get something out and offer value. But we're really trying to hone in on that personalization. So I find that really interesting that you're heading down that path.
Yeah.
Those who are looking to start a company, those who are out of college and who are very community centric, but just really looking to kind of take a leadership role and pursue the path of an entrepreneur, what piece of advice would you give to them?
Well, it's interesting. I think now is the perfect time to start something and take a swing at something because I think the playing field's been leveled to start businesses based on the amount of resources readily available and free resources that are readily available, and low code to no code tools, AI that people can get things out there. And I think even on when people are doing physical goods or consumer packaged goods, there's still the opportunity and ability to manufacture and produce where, 10, 15 years ago, it'd be very costly and timely to do so. So, I do think that, I encourage people often to have a sound plan and to have, a sound idea and a sound team, because it takes a team to do this, and to associate yourself with people that have a shared vision. But I am a big advocate of people following their passion and purpose when looking at career opportunities. And as you mentioned in the intro, I do a lot of mentoring with accelerators and incubators like Techstars and another one
Mm,
called Founder Boost. And one thing that I was always taught by my mentor, professionally, is that we have three phases in our in our careers, and it's learning, earning, and returning. So early on, when you talk about these recent college graduates, you're learning, and then when you've learned a lot, you start earning. And when you start earning, there's a point in your career where you need to be returning and giving back to others. So I actually mentor quite a lot of kind of new first time entrepreneurs in being aware of refining ideas, narrative, storytelling, brand, go to market strategies so that they can do that. But I do think that people should do a lot of research and capture data and launch ideas and give it a shot.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Corey, the brand kind of insinuates that you're mainly located in the Los Angeles area.
Well, we are national. So, interestingly enough, I mean, 213 Deli is just we're based in Los Angeles, and myself and my co-founders are
Mm,
Angelinos, so we went with that. But it's we're in the US, so we only ship within the US. And interestingly enough, two things about the name. One, it kind of gives it a stamp of credibility. So there's people, we have customers in all 50 states, and we do find that there's a high concentration of customers in often what are called flyover states that might not have readily accessible beauty retailers. They might not have a Sephora or Ulta. So to be able to order from their phone, by responding to a text and have it sent to them is a convenience. So we but when they know that it's 213 and 213 being the area code of Los Angeles, we are kind of a mecca of trendsetters and people launching new products. So it actually has been kind of a stamp of approval being based a Los Angeles based company, but we do ship um, to all 50 states.
got it, got it. Okay, great. Real, thanks for clarifying that. How can people get in touch with you, Corey?
So I am accessible. I can be found on LinkedIn. I am on, I'm more than happy to share my email address of Corey, Corui at 213deli.com. If people want to look into partnerships or collaborations or ways that, or even if they want to just bounce new ideas off of me, I'm more than happy to make myself available.
Wonderful. Thank you for your time, Corey. It's been a pleasure chatting with you.
Nice talking to you as well. Thank you for having me on, Michael.